Jazz is one of the indigenous American art forms. Musical theater is considered an American art form. But comics, words and pictures, sequential graphics, how far back do you want to go? Aren't the cave paintings the first original sequential stories that told a story? A couple of thousand years later, you have Egyptian hieroglyphics, which are basically sequential images to tell a story. You mix it with cuneiforms, which are basically images plus text. And you have, as thousands more years develop, you have the original European comics, broadsides. They were sequential images. This is German artist Rudolf Toffler. But finally, the modern American comic strip really starts in the late 19th century in New York. What you've maybe heard of as the Yellow Kid, that's where yellow journalism started, because Hearst and Pulitzer were fighting over the popularity of the Yellow Kid. And then as the years go on in comic strips, you get more of what we see as the classic panel-to-panel sequential transformation. Maybe the first great comic strip in terms of its artistic qualities, Little Nemo and Slumberland. But I want you budding graphic designers to notice, as beautiful as Winsor Mccay's art is, Winsor Mccay is the first animator. Gertie the dinosaur predates Disney and Mickey Mouse. But as great as Mccay's art is, look how bad the lettering is. It's almost as if, and I think he did this, he drew the balloons and then filled in the lettering. When I look at a Winsor Mccay, and I don't know if you feel this way, I only look at them, I can't read them. And what's the first order of business in typography? Legibility. I can't read a Winsor Mccay. That's how bad the typography is. But again, as comic strips went on, the adventure characters, Dick Tracy, notice the style and the look of Chester Gould, the deep blacks. Even his lettering style, hand lettering, has a distinct quality to it. The adventure strip continues. Prince Valiant is more of an illustrated, it's not comics or words and pictures working together with a kind of a synchronicity. But Prince Valiant, the illustration is beautiful, but if you notice, the text is somewhat divorced from the illustrations. I don't consider Prince Valiant great comics. Tarzan is the next great adventure character. And again, you see the beautiful work. This is the artist Bern Hogarth, one of the great anatomists. And then you have the first science fiction comic strip adventure character, Flash Gordon, by the great Alex Raymond, which eventually kind of led to Superman being created in 1933 out of those traditions of the comic strip. And Superman kicks off the comic book medium. And really, it was on the backs of the superhero that the comic book medium was created. And to this day, you can't mention comics without mentioning superheroes. They're really intertwined. And Superman, of course, over the years, this is 25 years later, developed into the character you probably recognize whether you're a comic book fan or not. Now, this is me, 6 years old. The comic at my feet in summer camp is that Superman comic, and I think it's the first comic I can remember. In those days in summer camp, comics were all over the place. There were Archies and Bettys and Veronicas, but they were superheroes, and I gravitated towards that. This is the postcard I sent back to my mom at home. Now, other kids wrote postcards saying, send candy, you know, send batteries, whatever. This is what I sent my